Hi everyone, I think you can all hear me, that's great. Yeah, we've got a bit of technology. I think some people may have been here a couple of years ago and saw this, so we'll get straight into it. We're going to be talking about La Colorada. By the way, I'm Chris Emerson, Senior Vice President of Exploration and Geology. Been with the company on my 11th year now, so and what a journey it's been. So we're gonna look at La Colorada first, and we'll go into a bit of the geology. Of course, we're here in Zacatecas. We're going to zoom in. You've got Durango to the north. Zacatecas is probably about 155 kilometers from La Colorada. Of course, now we've got a new one there, Juanicipio, which we're going to talk about in a bit. But really, I'm just going to swing around and we're going to look at Zacatecas as such. Obviously, we're going to be zooming in on La Colorada, and we'll look at the regional context first, where really we're on the Sierra Madre, and this is the silver belt of all silver belts. Starts up in the southwest, comes down through Mexico here, and we're right on the edge here. You've got Fresnillo, a big camp, which we'll talk about in a bit. But really, we're on the structural northwest southeast, and you can see all of these major deposits which line up on that trend. You've got San Martin sitting 30 kilometers as the crow flies from La Colorada. That's the skarn deposit, by the way. So we'll zoom in a little bit. We've got more of a district kind of geology. The green is limestone, and then you've got these browns, which are the volcanics. Now, the volcanics are where the main silver deposits sit in the Sierra Madre, which is the lower and upper volcanics. We'll get into a little bit more detail on those as well. But now, nearly 9,000 hectares sitting in and around this area, and La Colorada sitting right in the center there. We're going to zoom in and take a real look at the local geology now. And that's going to see, here's a surface map. Here we have it. The red are the main veins that we have from Recompensa, Amalio, the H-doubles, NC, and Christina. And over the last 6 months, we've been releasing press releases on the discovery, and we're going to go into more detail through the video here. And the green outline is the skarn which sits below all of these veins in the limestones. Very quickly, we'll give a quick overview of the site layout. We've got the tailings down in the south. You've got the main plant in the middle there, and the shaft, the main operation shaft in the center. The new Guadalupe shaft, which is now giving us that ventilation, which is the Scott was talking about, the return back to that 6 million ounces of production. So here we are again. Again, we've got those red lines, which are the main veins, and really the success story, which were released in March, are these new veins that sit over here to the south and to the east. Drilling has been ongoing now. We're doing around 80,000 meters a year. Which is giving us this discoveries that we've been seeing. Here we've got all the silver grades. Here are the main mines, and you see the HW, NC2, and the new Mariana, the extensions of NC2 going east. And really, all of this is still open as we go further east. To the south, Christina, which are these larger regional, larger structural plays in there as this thing moved out, gave extension, and allowed the fluids to come in. So here we have the silver grades. Here we're now just putting on the current principal vein reserves and resources, the shapes there. Mariana, we got some on the Christina, and then we're going to move into showing some more of the principal or the secondary structures which we've been coming out with recently. Filomena, San Geronimo systems, where we've got some inferred, and that's where really a lot of the success has happened, as I was mentioning, kind of south of that NC2. And then the blue, and we're looking above that, was the skarn, and we're going to, again, come into a bit more detail. Here's a very quick slide to show you how successful we have been through the drill bit here, up to nearly 80,000 meters of drilling. We're sitting at around 90 million ounces of silver, and certainly the inferred resource in mid-year 2025, we had another 50 million ounces of those southerly structures, and to the east on the NC2 and Mariana. So success, definitely. Again, there's those blue shapes of the skarn which sits below in the limestones, and then all of these different structures which make up that reserve and resource for the veins. Here we're showing the new veins that we've discovered. So these are not in the mid-year 2025 resource. These are new structures that we've now defined, and they will certainly be coming into the 2026 mid-year, which we're working on at the moment with the technical services team. So lots of upside from what we've been releasing at the moment. So December 25, March, September, we're coming out with some really nice results. Here's just a few examples of those results. Looking at the Mariana, this is a long section, and we're looking at multi-kilo, half a kilo, and so really strong as we look across there. And we're going to be showing that the exploration potential as we even push further outside of that long section to the east is there as well. This is the NC2. Again, just showing you some of those examples of some of those drill results that we've been releasing, up to 10 kilos over 20 centimeters and multi-kilo, 9 meters at 10 ounces, and with the lead zinc as well at over 15%. So now we've backed out. Again, we're looking at that vein array. Now we're going to focus a little bit on that new veins that we have been finding, and multiple veins. We're going to flip and give you just a quick cross section across that all, and I'll just stop it here so I can explain it a little bit more. So here we have the NC2 and the Mariana. They're in the reserve and resource. Here we have the two galleries that we are currently, exploration galleries that we're currently developing south on the 588 and the 488 level. And actually, Elena vein, which was a new vein, a blind vein that we found as we developed through that on this deeper gallery. And then we're heading towards the Philomenas, the Nicholasas, and all of those structures to the south. The larger structure, the Christina, again, is still open to the east, and that's where we're heading to on those exploration. That's going to bring all of this potential resource into production. So we'll flip back out. We'll zoom into just one of those, which was Philomena, which had some very good results, which we released. As I mentioned again, this is a new vein that we hope to bring into resource. I've got 2 machines just drilling on this at the moment, with over 15 drill machines going at La Colorada. So I'm going to pause it there, highlight the 5 meters at over 1 kilo silver and a combined 10% lead and zinc. Just one of these areas that we've been drilling. And this is actually specifically very good because it's at this contact between the limestones and the volcanics where we've started to see more of a replacement style mineralization, which is great for us. And all of these others we've been releasing over the past year. So lovely upside in all of those new veins that we've been discovering, and looking at where this potentially could go. So back in September 2025, we released S1025. Now, as you can see, that went through the veins. It also hit CRD, which is carbonate replacement style deposit, and also went into skarn. That's sitting 450 meters over from 903, which is one of the skarns in the current resource reserve. So that's over 450 meters to the east. We found skarn again. So for an exploration geologist, this is really good news. So thought it was worth highlighting to really show you that we have an expansion, and we're hitting veins and we're hitting skarn further out to the east. So now we're back to that overview, looking down at the deposits, and now we're going to talk a little bit about the skarn, give you some details as to where we are with that, and then Martin will come in and give you some more details on the recent PEA. So blue, the skarn, the updated the resource sits at around 2024. We've got over 45,000 meters of new drilling that's got to come into here. The dimensions of this, I mean, the skarn is 1.6 kilometers, 700 meters by over 900 meters in depth. We've got I'll show you some drill results with over 300 meters of sulfide. It's an exceptional discovery from 2018. Going to swirl that round and show you those 3 different deposits that we have. We call the 901, 902, and 903. Martin's going to touch on this a lot more, but then that although new vein inventory that we're finding, that resource that we're finding over at the top has really changed our viewpoint on how to mine this in the future. So we're going to come back round. We're going to show you where all the new drilling is. That's the magenta here. All this new drilling that's been happening, infill drilling the current resources to bring some of those inferred up into indicated, and doing some exploration slightly off to the east, that S10. And when we look at the skarn, we've described this as you've got the volcanics, the pink at the top, and below that you've got the limestones, the blue. Now, when we get hot intrusives coming up, we then, these hot fluids go into that limestone, create alteration, these garnet, this green skarns around these intrusives, and that causes the porosity and it allows all of the sulfides to come in afterwards and mineralize. And that's what we have here. We have a very classic mineralization, intrusive, the pink in the middle, the deposit sitting in and around these hot intrusives, which have been mineralized and giving us the sort of resource that we have to date. Here's a little example of some of those drill holes from 2018 that we've been releasing over these years. I mean, when you're drilling 380 meters with a combined 54, 2% lead and nearly 3.7 zinc, I mean, that's pretty phenomenal. 439 meters of sulfide, 250 meters of sulfide with exceptional lead, zinc, and silver results. So it's been a real pleasure to work on this deposit. Again, mentioning we got those 45,000 meters that are going to come into that resource reserve. You know, that's going to give us over 360,000 meters of drilling into this. So we've got a lot of confidence in what we have here. And in true weatherman style, the sun is always shining in La Colorada. Over to you, Martin.
Thank you very much, Chris. Okay. Fabulous. Martin Waghorn. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Good afternoon. Let's go advance a little bit. This is the 2024, what we had in 2024 with the sub-level caving idea, and we thought we had a really good plan. Caving operations, caving mines create subsidence zones, and then we found all these fabulous veins that are above that in the east. So we realized that we needed to take another look. So we're going to long hole stoping as being the mining method, and I'm just going to pause it quickly here. Okay, so this is the La Colorada, the expanded project. We have the orange color, which is the existing mine, the reserve. We have the lighter blue or the turquoisey color, which is the vein resources that are in the east. And then underneath that in the blue is this much more massive skarn deposit with hundreds of meters of width as we go. And you can see the total resources that are in the table at the bottom. So that's what the overall project looks like as we go forward. And is it moving? No, it's not. Yeah, here we go. So this is a bit of a timeline of how the development of the La Colorada skarn is going to look. And you can see here that we've got this ramp that Scott mentioned that's coming down. This is called our 588 ramp that the board of directors just approved, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. These two blue vertical lines on the right-hand side, those are the shafts. It's a production shaft and a ventilation shaft that are going to come down. We're calling them the east shafts. And we're going to go to our board for approval for those later in the year when we've done a bit more work on it. And you're going to see down here in the bottom left-hand side of the screen the cumulative silver production of the whole expanded project as it goes forward, and the timeline on this horizontal red and green bar. So I'm just going to go forward, and you can see that we're mining mostly the reserves right now as we go, and we're developing the mine, and now we've just starting production. We're in the sort of pre-production ramp-up phase of the skarn long hole stoping. You can see some turquoise color coming in the vein mine above, and you can see these stoping blocks. Now, each one of these little blocks, for reference, are about 30 meters high. Well, they're 30 meters high by 30 meters by 20 meters. So they're roughly 50,000 tons every time one of those comes out. And you'll see as we advance forward, we're going into the green area now, which is the higher grade payback period. And we've already gone over 100 million ounces of cumulative silver production as we're rolling this forward. And we're now right into the green squares. Those are the high-grade areas of the skarn deposit that we're going to take out to get our payback in the initial phase of the mine production. So keeping on going, you can see that the vein mine above is going. We're developing continuing to develop the mine, and we're now into what I call the full production period. And the full production period, we take about 8 stopes are in full production at any one time, being mucked, of 24 stopes in this full cycle between drilling, blasting, backfilling, that type of thing. So that's 24 stopes, 500 tons a day roughly per stope. We get to 12,000 tons a day of skarn stope production, plus 1,000 tons a day of skarn development production, plus 2,000 tons a day from the combined vein mine reserve and the vein mine resource, which is above. And that's how you get to 15,000 tons a day for the skarn. And you can see that cumulatively for the whole mine since 2026, the cumulative production has now gone above 200 million ounces of silver. So now we're running forward. We're sort of finalizing the vein mine production. The reserves are mined out essentially, and we're finalizing the resource above. And we're continuing to very sequentially mine out, stope by stope, the vein. And you can see the silver production going up to 300 million and on the way to almost 350 million ounces throughout this life of project that's going to go all the way out to 2068. And that's just I'm not going to be worrying about that, but but that's kind of how it goes as we go forward. And then we're going to do a little bit of a spin around here just to see just how massive this skarn deposit is, hundreds of meters across, compared with the little veins that we're mining, above. And those little veins are small, but they're super high grade. So that's kind of the idea of what this project looks like. And we see the sort of material handling system coming up here now with the production shaft and the haulage levels. And lots of ventilation required. It's got deep hot mine, so we need big shafts to get all that air down. We're going to need a refrigeration plant on surface. And then we're going to spin it around. And you can see the topography coming in now, what it looks like above. And we're going to spin it up to see what the surface of the mine looks like. So now we're up on surface, and we have the east production shaft and the east ventilation shaft there together, and the yellow ribbon that's stretching across, that's the overland conveyor that will go to the process plant. And now we're just going to go past the south ventilation shaft and the paste backfill plant that are there. And we're going to come now, continuing on the overland conveyor. We're going to go past the new electrical substation that we'll need. It's going to need a lot more power to run this big operation. And we're into a 24-hour live coarse ore stockpile storage. So part of the underground development, there's going to be a gyratory crusher underground that's going to take it down to 80% minus or 82 millimeters. And then onto this coarse ore storage. And then from there, it's going to go into the grinding circuit, which is a SAG mill, ball mill with a pebble crusher. And that's coming right up. You can see inside the plant building here now. And then from grinding into selective flotation, concentrate thickeners, concentrate filtration, concentrate storage, and into the tailings thickener, and then some of the tailings off to the tailings, some to the paste backfill plant. And now we're going into the camps and the other sort of surface infrastructure that we'll need. And I'll just stop it there quickly. That's a 1,000-person camp that we're going to install for now, with the infrastructure, the truck shops and the offices that are all associated with that. So we'll just let that one run out. There's the storage facility. It's actually in the south part of the property, even though it's showing in the top part of the page. Great.